Is imposter syndrome a weakness? Welcome to the School of Self-Worth Live. I'm Sam Osborne, the Self-Worth Guy. Today we're talking about, is imposter syndrome a weakness? And if you remember one thing from this video, it is that a weakness is a doorway to your self-worth. A weakness is a doorway to your worth. And I'm going to talk about three things here. I'm going to talk about exploring your fears and insecurities. I'm going to talk about looking for the complementary strength in your weakness. And I'm also going to be talking about how weaknesses have wisdom. Let's go through those three things. So I'm going to start by reciting a quote from one of my favorite authors, Joseph Campbell, who is famous for the hero's journey and mythology and making that relevant to the modern age. He says this: "It is by going down into the abyss that we recover the treasures of life. Where you stumble, there lies your treasure. The very cave you are afraid to enter turns out to be the source of what you are looking for." So I love that quote, and I tell myself the quote often because if I think I have a weakness, I used to think, oh my gosh, it's terrible. This is not a good thing, something to run away from. Imposter syndrome can be seen as a weakness to run away from and something you don't want to deal with. But this quote encourages us to go into it, go into the thing that you feel is tripping you up, the thing that is holding you back, your sore spot, the pain point. And imposter syndrome is definitely one of those things because there's a lot of stigma around it. A bit religious there. There is a stigma. There is a fear of talking about it, of admitting it to people, saying, I feel like an imposter. It's kind of something that people keep to themselves. I know that that's how it was for me. So I love this quote because it says, go down into the weakness and you're going to find your treasure. And I believe you're going to find your worth and your value. That's why I say a weakness is a doorway to your worth. Let's look at exploring your fears and insecurities. So let's explore the fears and insecurities of imposter syndrome. First of all, the first fear, the one that is spoken about, usually acknowledged, is that imposter syndrome is a fear that your inadequacies will be exposed. And that can be a real fear. I mean, nobody wants to be, found out to be incompetent. Okay. I think people generally want to be competent and they want other people to know that about them. That's a healthy approach to life, but it can get to the point where it starts to fester and you're so worried about other people wanting to know that you are competent and also that you are, that you start to fear getting it right or being perfect all of the time. And it can start to generate a lot of insecurity. So explore your fear and your insecurities of imposter syndrome, that top level. Explore why do you have this fear that other people will find out that you're inauthentic? Let's look at the second level of that. And you might think to yourself, well, I want other people to like me. I don't want to be publicly ridiculed. That makes perfect sense. Maybe you haven't said that to yourself. So acknowledge that level, that I'm afraid that people will find out that I'm incompetent at something which you are actually competent at, or at least not bad, right? And say, well, it's because I want people to like me. I want people to include me in the workplace, socially, and that's fine. You can have that. You're allowed to, want people to like you. If you look at it on a third level, let's explore this level of the imposter syndrome on another level. Why is it that you want people to like you or to love you? I guess you could say there is a fear of not belonging. And that's a very deep issue for humans, that we crave belonging. And I think it's perfectly okay to want to belong to something. There's a lot of fun and enjoyment that comes from belonging to a family, a group, an organization, a circle of friends, a business, a cause. It's totally fine. But on the third level, I think imposter syndrome is a fear of not belonging. And if we go even further, what is the why are we afraid of not belonging? Well, you could say, well, I don't want to be lonely. And I'm going to say here, there is a fear of being by yourself, and that you are afraid of facing yourself when there's no one else around and it's just you. Imagine you're in a place where no one likes you, no one loves you, you don't belong, and you have the fear of people finding out that you're faking it, faking who you are. You're left with facing yourself. And this is the really dark, deep place of having to look at yourself on all angles, your good and your bad, and being okay with that and loving yourself and saying, well, I'm human. Okay, I think that's a great way to explore your fears and insecurities around imposter syndrome. Second point, look for the complementary strength of imposter syndrome. So that we know the weakness now. What's the opposite of that? Well, it's being authentic. It's improvising. It's making things up and being okay with it. It's not worrying about what other people think. It's being realistic and knowing, well, not everybody's going to like me and love me, and I can't belong to everything, and that's okay. So this complementary strength here is that on some level, you are genuine. You are authentic, that there is a great value in you, that you care about what other people think of you. You care about belonging. You care about community. So look for the complementary strength in imposter syndrome. It doesn't always have to be a weakness. Third point, weaknesses have wisdom, or as I like to say, the wound hides the wisdom. The thing that you think is wrong with you is often a superpower. I think I saw that as an Instagram meme once. What you think is wrong with you is your superpower in disguise. So the wound hides the wisdom. Whatever you think is wrong with you, I believe your treasure, like Joseph Campbell says, your treasure is in there somewhere. Go into that. Where you stumble, where you trip up, where you feel insecure, go a little deeper. That's why I say weakness is a doorway to your value. Weakness is a doorway to your worth, your self-worth. Imposter syndrome, I believe, is an unconscious desire, an unconscious message to transform yourself, to become authentic, to let go of your hang-ups, to be okay by yourself, and to love and appreciate yourself, and then go out into the world and participate. And that's going to be a great way for you to enjoy life and serve other people who are going through similar fears. Okay. All right. Let's summarize. So is imposter syndrome a weakness? In some cases, yeah, on the surface level, it is a weakness because it's going to hold you back in life, right? It's going to make you feel stressed and anxious. But I want you to remember, a weakness is a doorway to your self-worth. And you can explore your fears and insecurities. You can look for the complementary strength, and remember that weaknesses have wisdom. All right. So if you've loved this episode, I have a free gift for you. It's called Crush Imposter Syndrome Forever, the starter kit for bulletproof confidence. And you can get it at the links above on Facebook and LinkedIn, or below on YouTube, or on Spotify if you're listening. And I'm also going to put it on the screen right now, samosborne.com/starter kit. And I invite you to join the School of Self-Worth Facebook group. Come and say hi. That's the best place to get in contact with me and ask your questions. I would love to make a video for you about your questions about imposter syndrome, self-worth, authentic self, confidence, to help you go out there and find the treasure within your weakness. Have a great day, everybody. And remember, a weakness is a doorway to your self-worth. See ya.